Hello, I have put this video together so that students can have a better understanding, if they're not here, how to complete this prison research assignment. If you open your prison research assignment, one of the first things you're going to notice is, number one, it's a very large assignment. 70 points is pretty substantial, especially at the end of the term when we're kind of winding down. The other thing I want to point out is that if you look at the bottom of the screen, you're going to see that there are two different tabs. The prison overview is this first page, and this first page is 24 points. The second page is the big research part of it, and that's comparing some data in our prison systems, and that is actually 56 points. And so I think I want to make sure that you understand where all this information is going to come from. So the first thing you're going to need to do is open up the website that is linked at the top of the page, and this will take you to a page that looks like this. Now, this information is showing us a lot of basic information about the custody level of Minnesota prisons. There's a map, and it's also on your assignment as to where these facilities are located. There's a lot of information in terms of when the prison opened and what is the capacity of that particular prison. So you get a lot of information on just the Minnesota prison system around that little bit on that first page. And that'll help you answer these first questions in terms of how many custody levels are there, what 3 prisons from the drop-down menu have minimum custody classification. Here's your minimum, your medium, your close, and your maximum security. There's also a little bit of information underneath the maximum security that will be needed for this assignment. Once you get through a number of these questions in terms of that document online, there's a couple questions that are going to kind of tie in things we've already done in class. One of them is, what is a certified adult sentence? This is going to take us back to the juvenile unit, and you're going to have to tell me, what does that mean? The other one is the EJJ sentences. What does EJJ mean? You're going to define those in these 2 boxes. The other one is, what are visitation hours on state holidays? The way to find this out is to just pop open any of these and scroll down to the bottom where it will talk to you about visiting those particular sites. So that will help you complete the first page. The second page is where a lot of the data comes from. And where you find the data is in every one of these prisons. Every day there has to be an update of the inmate profile. And so if you go to any one of these, it's going to have that document available for you. So I'm going to start and just point a few things out, looking at Faribault, so that you can make sure you know where to find this information. So if I click on this, it is going to open up a document that I'm making this video on November 12th. This information is only relevant to this particular day. By tomorrow, this data can actually change and it won't be accurate on the assignment. So I would not copy down the information I'm going to put on the document and show you where to find it, but I would make sure you're using updated information. So the first thing says, the first box, column B, for all these prisons is you're going to find out how many adult offenders are currently at the facility. Now, this might be a little confusing because it says there's a total of 1,887 inmates, but that's not actually what's at the facility. That is what is on their roster of care responsibility. It's the second number that is going to identify how many are currently on site. So why are there less currently on site that are in their responsibility? inmates get moved around. Some of them might be medical. Some of them might be at a jail right now because they have a hearing. Faribault is responsible for that big number, but who is actually on the facility property is actually smaller. So make sure you don't get caught up in that. The second one, column C, says how many juveniles are currently at this site. Well, I know a juvenile is anyone under the age of 18, so I'm looking at this and I see that it is 0%. So I'm literally going to put 0% in that box. Okay. The next three are dealing with 18 to 25, 26 to 55, and 56 and over. This is going to require you to do some adding in the percentages on this document page, and you're going to be adding up these percentages. By the time you're finished with these three boxes added together, and if there's a juvenile, so it might be 4 boxes added together, should get you close to that 100%. The next one is talking about oldest, youngest, and averaged age of our inmates at these facilities. That is in the same box. Here's our youngest at this facility is currently 19. The oldest is 93, and the average is 41. So I would be putting that information into this box with these headers. Column H is looking at education level. I think there is a belief out there about inmates and their education level. Well, that's what I want you to look at, is how many inmates at these facilities hold a high school diploma or a GED. So I go back to the profile and I go down to the level that says education. So what percentage have a verified high school? There's that 82%. I'm going to go back. I'm going to put the 82% in this box. How many inmates at this location are serving certified adult sentences? Certified adult, again, that question is on the first page. What does that mean? Currently at Faribault, there are 21. The next bit of information you're going to find is how many inmates are serving as EJJ sentences. That is right underneath. The number of offenders serving extended juvenile jurisdiction as sentences is 7. So you're seeing how this information is going to fall into place once you know where to look for it. The next column, K, how many inmates at this site are serving sentences of life without parole? Don't get confused here, because the first one is with the possibility of parole. The last one is how many are at that site that we know will never leave the prison because they have life without parole. Column L is asking which 2 counties hold the highest level of commitment, which means the county has prosecuted these individuals because they committed crimes in those particular counties. So basically this is saying is which 2 counties have the highest number of inmates who committed their crime. I'm going to go back to the inmate profile. What I see first is that 51% of the inmates at Faribault as of this date had committed their crime somewhere in the 7-county metro. But the 2 counties for this particular prison are Hennepin and Ramsey. And we see that combined, that's 36% of all the inmates at Faribault committed their crimes in Hennepin or Ramsey County. Then we're going to be looking at the last 2 columns on what were the crimes that were most committed that landed these individuals in these prisons, and that information is found on the second page. So all of these, if we look at the number of individuals or charges that they were found guilty on, we look at these numbers and we're going to see some pretty surprising statistics as far as I'm concerned. Some of them are surprising. So the first thing I'm going to look for is which one has the highest number of active sentences, and that is criminal sexual conduct. So I'll go back to my page and I will scroll down and find the tab of criminal sexual conduct. Then I'm going to go back to my page and find out what was the one with the second highest number. And from scanning this one looks like it appears to be the drugs. So I'll go to the second one. I will scroll down until I see drugs. That would complete Faribault then. And then I'm going to go through that same process with Lino, Moose Lake, Oak Park Heights. It is the expectation that this is an assignment that you do individually. I have no reason to not believe that you won't do this individually, but when you are finished, you're going to go back onto Schoology and you are going to submit that. Make sure you have checked when it is due and you get it in by the due date and the time that is on Schoology. I hope this helps those of you that may not have been here when I went over it in class to be able to complete this assignment.